The galaxy was silent. Silent not because peace existed, but because fear had taken its place. World after world lived under the iron shadow of the alien empire. Their fleets stretched across the stars like an endless net, and no system dared to break free. Entire civilizations bent their knees not out of loyalty, but because rebellion had become a forgotten word. The aliens were many, united under a council that no one could oppose. Their ships were massive and countless, built to crush resistance before it could rise. They ruled with arrogance, their voices echoing across conquered worlds as if their power could never be challenged. Generations were born and died without hope. Parents told their children that freedom was only a myth from the old days, stories carried by the wind but never seen. The galaxy was a prison without walls. Those who resisted vanished. Cities were burned, colonies were erased. No rebellion lasted long, and those who dreamed of freedom kept their dreams buried deep inside. The Empire wanted obedience, and it demanded silence, and silence is what it received. Yet in the shadows, whispers still lived. Whispers about a species that once walked boldly among the stars. Whispers of warriors who were not like the others, who fought with both mind and fire, and who did not surrender even when outnumbered. These whispers spoke of humans. But to the Empire, humanity was a ghost. The rulers told themselves that humans were gone, wiped away long ago. Some said humans destroyed themselves in wars. Others claimed the Empire had already defeated them in the past. The truth was forgotten, covered in dust and fear. For the aliens, it did not matter. All that mattered was this. Humanity was no longer there, and if they were not there, they could not return. Still, stories had a way of surviving. In the darkest corners of the galaxy, in the oldest records of conquered worlds, the word human was spoken like a secret prayer. Some remembered battles where human fleets fought until the last ship burned. Some remembered voices that promised to return. And though these stories were dismissed as myths, they planted a seed of doubt in the hearts of the Empire. The Empire worked hard to erase this doubt. They ruled with endless parades of their fleets, displaying power so overwhelming that no one would dare dream of defiance. And for centuries, it worked. The galaxy learned to accept chains as the natural order, but power has a way of breeding arrogance. The aliens became careless. They mocked the very idea of a human threat. At their banquets, they laughed. If the humans lived, where are they? If they are strong, why are they silent? They are dust in the void, nothing more. They believed this so deeply that they never prepared for the alternative. They never considered that silence does not always mean death. Sometimes silence means waiting. Far from the centers of power, beyond the maps of the Empire, a ship slept. It drifted among the stars, quiet as a tomb, forgotten by those who once feared it. Inside, ancient engines rested cold. Metal corridors lay in darkness. But deep in its heart, a spark remained. The ship was not dead. It was waiting. As centuries passed, the galaxy spun, empires rose, slaves worked, and the aliens believed themselves eternal. And then, one night in the empty blackness of space, the silence broke. A low hum began inside the forgotten warship. Lights flickered on, engines stirred, systems reawakened. Slowly, like a beast stretching after endless sleep, the human warship opened its eyes. Its name was etched into its hull, worn but unbroken. Those who would see it soon would whisper that name in fear and awe. For this was not just a ship. This was a message. The hum grew into a roar. Thrusters ignited, casting fire into the void. The engines, once silent for ages, screamed back to life. The ship did not ask permission. It did not wait for orders. It moved with purpose, as if the galaxy itself had called it back. Far away, alien patrols detected something strange. A signal, faint but rising. At first they dismissed it. Just debris, they thought. A ghost of the past, meaningless. But as the signal grew stronger, unease spread. Their sensors did not lie. Something was moving, something human. The commanders mocked the reports. Impossible, they said. Humanity is gone. Our records prove it. Our history confirms it. Yet the signal did not vanish. It grew louder, closer, undeniable. And when the first scout ship saw the shadow of the warship crossing the stars, their laughter ended. What was once only whispers in the dark had become reality. The galaxy had grown used to chains. The aliens had grown used to power. But chains can break, power can fall. And one ship, just one, had awakened to remind the galaxy of what it had forgotten. It was not an empire. It was not an army. It was a single human warship. But in the silence of space, even one spark is enough to set fire to the stars. And so, the first step was taken. The silence of fear was broken. The galaxy did not yet know it, but everything had changed. Because one truth had returned: humanity never dies. The alien empire did not fear the edges of its domain. Why should it? For centuries, no rebellion had risen. No unknown fleet had challenged them. Patrols drifted lazily through the void, more ceremony than necessity. The empire believed itself untouchable, but the void has a way of hiding secrets. On the far rim of the galaxy, a small alien patrol ship cruised near a silent sector. Its crew was bored, their voices casual, their posture relaxed. They scanned out of habit, never expecting trouble. Yet on this night the scanners flickered. The ship's systems caught something strange, an energy signature that did not match any known design. At first, the crew laughed. "It is just an error," one said. "Debris, nothing more." The officer in command shook his head but did not act. They had grown too used to safety. But then the signal grew. Stronger. Clearer. It pulsed like a heartbeat. The patrol ship turned its scanners again. This time, the data was undeniable. An object was moving, steady and deliberate. The shape was not alien. It was not part of the Empire's fleet. Its lines were sharp, angled like a blade. Its engines burned with a glow different from theirs. The officer's smile faded. "Send word to command," he ordered. Moments later, the dark shape emerged from the void. At first it was only a shadow. Then with a slow, unstoppable motion, the human warship revealed itself. Metal plates scarred with age, hull blackened by battles long past. Yet its presence was alive, heavy, commanding. The patrol ship's crew whispered in fear. They had heard the old stories. They had laughed at them. But now, face to face with the shadow of humanity, their laughter turned to silence. The alien officer shouted, "Open fire!" Bright beams shot into the void, striking the warship. Explosions of light rippled across its armor, but when the light cleared, the human ship still moved, unbroken, unshaken. Then, for the first time in centuries, the galaxy remembered the fury of humanity. The warship's main cannon charged. Energy gathered like a storm behind its metal shell. A single shot lanced forward, cutting through the patrol ship. There was no warning, no slow collapse. The patrol ship tore apart in seconds, burning wreckage scattering into space. The surviving alien crew sent desperate messages. Their voices screamed across comms. "Human design. Human ship. Humanity lives." The Empire ignored it at first. Lies, they thought. Myths. But as more reports came, as more patrols failed to return, their arrogance began to crack. Soon, a larger fleet was dispatched. Dozens of ships this time, ready to hunt what they still believed was a relic. They found it near a dead star, silent again, drifting as if it waited. The alien fleet moved in tight formation. They mocked the lone ship, broadcasting their voices across the void. "You are one vessel. One. We are many. You cannot win." But the warship did not answer with words. It answered with fire. Its weapons cut into the alien formation with surgical precision. Missiles streaked through the void, striking ships with impossible accuracy. Laser fire burned holes through heavy armor. One by one, the alien ships fell. Their confidence turned into terror. The fleet commander shouted orders, but nothing worked. Every move they made, the warship was already there, predicting, striking, destroying. It was not just strong, it was intelligent. It fought with strategy. like a predator among prey. When the battle ended, the void was filled with burning wrecks. Only the human warship remained, its engines glowing like the eyes of something alive. The survivors fled, their messages reaching the Empire. It is real. Humanity has returned. One ship has destroyed us. And in that moment, fear spread farther than any weapon could. The Empire had believed themselves eternal. But eternity cracked when a single ship of humanity reappeared. The galaxy had been ruled for centuries, but now for the first time in ages there was doubt. The Empire had always trusted its numbers. 1,000 ships against one should have been enough. 1,000 guns should have erased a ghost from the void. But the reports told a different story. The fleets had been shattered. The wreckage floated like a warning across the stars. At first, the High Council of the Alien Empire dismissed the news. Lies, exaggerations, they said. A single ship cannot do this. But as survivors arrived with empty eyes and broken voices, the Council's confidence began to tremble. These were not wild tales. These were facts written in fire and wreckage. The word spread like a storm. Human. It had been centuries since that word meant anything. To the younger generations of the Empire, it was nothing but an old myth. To the older ones, it was a memory they had forced themselves to bury. But now the buried had clawed its way back into the light, and with it came fear. The human warship was no ordinary relic. Its hull bore scars of countless battles, yet its heart burned with power. Its weapons did not fire wildly. They struck with precision as if guided by an intelligence sharper than any machine. Each battle it fought was not a show of raw strength, but of strategy, of patience, of a mind that refused to surrender. The aliens could not understand it. How could one ship outmaneuver entire fleets? How could one vessel carry the weight of battles that should have demanded thousands? They looked at their maps and saw numbers on their side. But numbers meant nothing against the storm that moved with human hands. The truth was simple. The warship carried not just weapons, but memory. It remembered how humanity once fought. Long ago, humans had been small among the stars, but they had never accepted weakness. They had fought every war as if it were their last, using not just firepower, but willpower. Their strength was never only in their fleets, but in their refusal to die quietly. The Empire had forgotten this. The galaxy had forgotten this. But the warship had not. Its name began to surface in broken transmissions, whispered by alien crews before their voices cut off. A single word carved into the hull, half-burned but still alive. Those who heard it felt a chill. It was not just a ship. It was a legend. Every system the ship passed carried new rumors. Some said it was crewed by ghosts, the last humans risen from the ashes. Others believed it was guided by an AI born from human rage. And some whispered something even darker, that it was not alone. The Empire tried to silence these rumors. They sent messages of calm to the conquered worlds, claiming the ship would soon be destroyed. But the people did not believe. They had seen their rulers bleed for the first time in centuries. And once hope takes root, it is hard to kill. The warship moved from system to system like a shadow. It did not conquer planets. It did not stay to claim victory. It struck shattered fleets and vanished back into the void. It was a reminder, a voice in the darkness. Humanity is not gone. For the slaves of the Empire, it was a spark of freedom. For the rulers, it was a nightmare they could not contain. The High Council grew desperate. They called back fleets from distant borders. They ordered weapons forged in secret to be brought into the open. They wanted to crush this ship, to erase it before the legend grew too strong. But the galaxy had already changed. The warship had already won something greater than battles. It had won belief. A single ship, yet it carried the weight of a species. A species that the Empire thought dead. A species that once nearly burned the galaxy. Now the galaxy asked a new question. If one warship survived, how many more might be waiting? In the deep heart of space, the warship rested again, its engines cooling. Inside its hull, silence ruled, but it was not the silence of death. It was the silence of waiting. The galaxy stirred, empires trembled, and slaves dreamed. The human ship was patient. It had waited centuries. It could wait longer. But its message had already spread, and the message was clear. Humanity never dies. The High Council of the Alien Empire had never gathered in such silence. Their chambers, built from black stone and crowned with banners of victory, usually rang with laughter and arrogance. Now only fear lingered. Reports from the Rim continued to arrive, each more disturbing than the last. Entire fleets destroyed. Patrols erased. Survivors, few and broken. The Council could no longer deny it. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had returned. This cannot continue, one counselor hissed, his scaled hands trembling. One ship should not hold our galaxy in fear. Another leaned forward, voice sharp. Then we must show the galaxy that we still rule. Gather the armadas, every available fleet. We will end this human shadow once and for all. And so the order spread across the stars. Fleets pulled back from conquered borders. War factories lit their furnaces. Tens of thousands of ships were summoned, pulled into one place. A storm of steel and fire meant to crush the warship that dared to resist. The galaxy watched, some in fear, others in secret hope. No one had seen such a gathering of power in generations. The alien empire meant to prove it was still eternal. Far away, drifting in silence, the human warship received their call. It did not hesitate. It did not hide. Its engines roared to life, and it set a course toward the very heart of the storm. The void trembled when the two sides met. The alien armada stretched across the blackness like a wall. Its ships were endless, their lights filling space like stars. They moved in formation, cold and perfect, confident in their numbers. Against them came the lone warship, small in size compared to the vast sea of metal, but carrying with it something far greater: resolve. The battle began with fire. Alien guns lit the void, beams crossing like storms, missiles burning like falling suns. Space shook with their fury. Against this ocean of power, the warship moved. It danced. Every shot aimed at it seemed too slow. Every trap laid against it was turned against the attackers. Its engines burned with impossible precision, sliding through the void as if it knew every move before it was made. Where alien ships pushed forward, it struck back with perfect aim. Where the fleet tried to surround it, the warship cut open a path of fire and escaped. One by one, alien ships exploded. Their wreckage drifted into the void, silent and burning. But the battle was not easy. The warship bled. Armor cracked. Flames licked along its hull. Yet even wounded, it fought with a fury the Empire could not match. Its weapons roared like thunder, striking with such force that entire squadrons were wiped away in seconds. The alien commanders screamed orders, their voices shaking. Close the gaps. Overwhelm it. It is only one ship. But their words meant nothing. Numbers were useless against skill. Fear began to spread among them. Their screens filled with the same haunting image. One warship cutting through legions like a predator through prey. The galaxy watched in silence. On enslaved worlds, people gathered around hidden receivers listening to broken transmissions from the battle. They heard the cries of alien fleets falling. They heard the roar of human weapons. And in their hearts something dangerous was born again. Hope. The Empire felt it too. For centuries they had ruled through fear. But now fear no longer served them. It had turned against them. It had become their enemy. At the peak of the battle, when the void was filled with wreckage and fire, the warship did something no one expected. It stopped. It did not retreat. It did not finish the kill. It hung in silence, its weapons cooling, its engines dimming. Across the armada, stunned survivors held their breath. Why stop now? Why spare them? Then they realized. It was not mercy. It was a message. The warship wanted the Empire to live. It wanted them to remember. It wanted them to carry fear back to their masters, to speak of what they had seen, to spread the legend wider than any battle could. When its thrusters reignited and it vanished into the void once more, the alien survivors whispered what no one had dared say aloud. If one ship can do this, what if there are more? The question spread faster than fire, faster than war. Across the galaxy, enslaved peoples began to rise in whispers. The Empire's power no longer felt eternal. Their chains no longer seemed unbreakable. The turning point had come. Not because the Empire was destroyed, but because the galaxy no longer believed in its invincibility. And somewhere, hidden in the endless dark, the warship moved on. Waiting for the next battle. Waiting for the moment when humanity would no longer be a whisper, but a storm. Because this was no longer just a fight. This was the beginning of something far greater. The galaxy had seen the spark. Now it feared the fire. The wreckage of the battle drifted through the void, glowing embers against the endless black. Thousands of alien ships had been destroyed, their shattered hulls silent reminders of a defeat too large to hide. Survivors limped away with broken fleets and heavier fear. The Empire had summoned its greatest power, and still one ship had walked through fire and lived. The High Council trembled. In their grand chambers, their voices were sharp, but their eyes betrayed panic. "This must remain hidden," one counselor insisted. "We cannot allow the galaxy to know." But the galaxy already knew. Rumors traveled faster than fleets, and whispers carried more weight than orders. Across star systems, the story spread. A single human warship had faced an empire, and the empire had bled. On conquered worlds, slaves who once bowed without question lifted their heads. Miners in dark tunnels whispered to each other as sparks from their drills fell like stars. Farmers on broken colonies told their children, "Humanity is alive." Soldiers pressed into alien service began to imagine what rebellion might look like. Hope had returned, fragile but unstoppable. For the Empire, fear became a poison. Their fleets patrolled harder. Their punishments grew harsher, but the harder they squeezed, the more the galaxy slipped through their grip. Their enemies did not yet rise, but they dreamed of rising, and dreams were dangerous. Meanwhile, the warship vanished back into the silence of space. No broadcasts, no declarations. It did not seek glory. It moved like a shadow, striking where it chose, then fading into the dark. The aliens could not predict it. They could not find it. They could not kill it. And the not knowing was worse than any wound. The ship itself was scarred. Armor burned. Weapons drained. But still it endured. In its silence lay the memory of humanity. Every plate of steel carried the will of those who built it. Every weapon carried the fury of those who had once vowed never to bow. The warship was more than a machine. It was a story that refused to end. One night, in a quiet sector at the far rim, a small group of alien traders caught sight of it. They froze in terror, believing they would be destroyed. But the warship did not fire. It passed them like a ghost, its engines blazing, its shadow covering their small ships in silence. And as quickly as it came, it was gone. The traders spread the tale. The human ship chooses its battles. It does not kill without reason. The story twisted into something larger. Soon, across the galaxy, people said, "The humans do not just fight, they protect. They are not only warriors, but guardians." The Empire tried to drown these voices, but they were too many. Every world added its own layer to the legend. Some said the warship was the last of humanity. Others swore it was only the first. Some claimed entire human fleets waited in the dark, ready to rise. None knew the truth, but truth no longer mattered. Belief had taken its place, and belief can move galaxies. The Empire feared this most of all. They had ruled with certainty, their chains built from obedience. But certainty was gone. In its place stood doubt, and doubt spread faster than any weapon. In time, the human warship would face new battles. Stronger fleets, deadlier traps, greater risks. But the outcome of those battles no longer lived only in guns and armor. The outcome lived in the minds of billions who now whispered, "Humanity is not gone. Humanity will return." The galaxy had changed. No one could deny it. Even in the Empire's highest halls, leaders sat in silence, haunted by the same thought. If one ship survived, perhaps more did too. The warship drifted onward, vanishing into the dark once again. Its hull glowed faintly, scarred but alive. Its engines pulsed like a heartbeat. It did not speak, but it did not need to. Its message was carved in every wreck it left behind, in every whisper that passed across the stars. Humanity had once been forgotten. Now it was a legend reborn, and legends do not die. They grow. The galaxy waited, trembling between fear and hope. Every species watched the stars, wondering when the next shadow would fall, when the next fire would rise. The Empire prayed it would not happen. The enslaved prayed it would. The warship did not pray. It moved, silent, patient, eternal, because in the heart of the void, one truth now guided the future of every world, every empire, every star: humanity never dies.